Hi everybody, this is Courtney with Fiberfox Studios. Welcome to Mosaic Monday. Today we're going to be working on this pattern right here, which you can work flat or in the round. This is pattern number 33. It is available as a chart set on my Etsy shop, which I'll link down below in the description. And the crochet hook that I'm using is a Nelson Wood crochet hook, also will be linked down in the description. And the yarns that I'm using in the tutorial are down here. We're going to be in this section when we're filming. So we're going to be using a Deramores Studio Anti-Pilling DK yarn. That is this one right here. That is our color B. So we're going to be beginning in color B for this tutorial. And for those of you who want to know exactly which yarn I'm using, that's Rosemary. This will also be down in the description for you guys. I am also using another Deramores Studio yarn, but this is the Baby Soft DK, and I'll show you what that label looks like. And this colorway, it's kind of like a peachy tone, is Coral, and that'll be down there in the description. For you guys, I also worked up a little bit further so you could see what it's going to look like when you repeat the design. So down here is what we're doing in the video. We're doing rows 1 through 22. And then I repeated by doing rows 3 through 22 again. And then I'm working on another repeat up here, starting again with row 3, moving up here on along. When I switched here, this is where I did my color change. So you can do the same thing when you start your repeat of the design. For me, I changed out color A, and I did that when I did the second repeat when I'm up here doing row 4. So I did row 3, and then and I kept row 3 was in color B when I repeated it, and I kept that in the green tone. So I kept my color B the same throughout and did a color change with color A each time I restarted the repeat. So you can do the same, or you can use a color changing yarn, or you can use all the same color yarn. You don't have to change colors, but just giving you an example of what that will look like if you do that. For this second color A up here, when I switched colors, I was using the Stylecraft Special Double Knit, and that color is Camdyfloss. Still color B as the Rosemary that I originally showed. And then color A up here in my third repeat of the complete design is another Deramores Studio Anti-Pilling DK, and this one is Blush. So those are all the colors that you see. And again, down in the description, you'll find links to the pattern, row start times, project ideas, and a lot more. So all that's down there in the description for you to check out. Now we're going to jump into the tutorial. So grab your supplies. You need at least 2 colors of yarn, your crochet hook, which I have recommended sizes down in the description as well, and we will get started. We're going to begin working today's pattern by chaining out in our multiple of 20. So if you're working flat, you are going to chain the multiple of 20 over and over as many times as you like to make a project. And then at the end of your starting chain, you'll add 4 chains. So right here, I have chained a total of 2 multiples, so 40 chains, and I've added 4 to the end, so I have 44 chains. If you're wanting to work in the round, you will just chain out in your multiple of 20 over and over as many times as you like, and then you will slip stitch to the first chain you made to join and form a ring, and then you begin working your multiple in that same stitch that you slip stitch into. The first row is going to be done in color B, so you want to choose your color B, get your starting chain ready, and come back to the video. We are now moving on to row 1, where we're going to be working in color B. So we need to be skipping this very first chain and work here into the second, doing a traditional single crochet. So for all you guys who are new, traditional single crochet means we're going under or into that complete stitch. So you're under the V. Now you just single crochet like normal. And then our repeat for row number 1 is very easy. We're going to be doing a back loop only single crochet in every stitch. So that means we pick up the back loop, one side of the stitch, and we complete a single crochet just like normal from there. I'm going to be referring to these back loop only single crochets as single crochets throughout the rest of this tutorial, because you guys know you're working in the back loop only when you're working your repeat stitches. So place a single crochet in every single stitch all the way down your row, and then meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 2. We're now here at the end of row number 1, and I'm going to show you how you're going to complete all of your row ends. At the very end of this row, we have 1 stitch left, and we know automatically when we have 1 stitch left at the end of a mosaic row, we're working mosaic, we're going to go into that complete stitch and do a traditional single crochet. So we want to be completely in the stitch and do a single crochet from there. And then we can chain up 2 and bind off. Ta-da! So now we're going to move on to row number 2. So you need to grab color A for row number 2. Now we're ready to begin row number 2, but this is what our work looks like after completing row 1. Not a whole lot to see, but we're going to now move on to row 2. So now we have to figure out which stitch we're going to go into. If you're familiar with Mosaic and the way I teach it, you can skip ahead to row 3. You already know what you're going to be doing here. But if you're new, right here, we're trying to identify this very first stitch. On the side here is that turning chain that we had, and we want to scoot that down out of our way and make sure that we identify and go into the very first stitch of our row so that we do not mess up our counts. Counts are very important in this. So we get into that complete stitch and we're going to join on color A this time. So for me, that's the peach yarn. And we just simply do a traditional single crochet here in this first stitch. So we draw up that loop. I like to chain 1. And then we're going to go back down here into the same exact stitch and work a single crochet, just like normal. Pull up that loop and then grab and pull through all those little loops on our hook. Now our repeat for row number 2 is exactly like it was for row 1. This is another setup row, so we're going to be doing our single crochets in the back loop only all the way down this row. So there is super easy repeat for you to work on. You just place a single crochet in every single stitch. Last stitch in the row is a traditional single crochet going under that V. So you may pause here and meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 3. Here's what our work will look like after we've done rows 1 and 2, which are setup rows. Now we're moving on to row number 3, where you're going to join on with color B. So for me, that is this color right here. I'm going to show you how you join on. It's the same as I just showed before, but this will be the last time I'm going to show, since you will join on exactly the same way every single row. So you can see right here, that's that chain 1 right there that I did, got it scooted down. Go right here into the very first stitch and get completely under that V. It's a little fiddly. There you go. Now we just do our single crochet like normal, always in the very first stitch. So for those that are working in the round, they don't have this little struggle right here that we're having to do for us flat workers. Now we're going to chain 1, and then we go back down into this first stitch. Same exact stitch, and we finish out doing our traditional single crochet. Now we're ready to move on to our repeat for row number 3. So row 3's repeat is going to begin now. So you're going to be working 2 double crochets in these next 2 stitches, and I'll show you how that's done. So we're going to wrap our yarn, and we are doing a double crochet. It's our placement that matters. So we want to find our next stitch, and then we slide down 2 rows below, picking up that front loop that we left by doing back loop only single crochets. And now we just grab and pull up a loop like normal, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. So all of our double crochets are worked by dropping down and picking up the front loop 2 rows below. Now we're going to do another one because we have this repeat starts with 2 double crochets and we've done 1. So we're going to wrap again, identify our next stitch, and slide directly down. And we finish out our double crochet like normal. And now to note for going forward, anytime you're unsure of where your next stitch is, all you need to do is fold back these double crochets because each double crochet represents 1 stitch back here on the row that we're not working into. So I've got 2 double crochets, 2 stitches back there on that row. When I put them back in their position, they are covered up. And I know that this next stitch is my next stitch to work into. And we're going to be doing 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. So there's number 1, number 2, and number 3. Now we will do 2 double crochets. Wrap, identify, slide down. So there's 1 double crochet. Now we're going to work a second double crochet. We're going to work 7 single crochets over the next 7 stitches. Here's number 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And number 7. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. So we're going to wrap, identify, slide down, picking up that front loop. There's 1. And here is number 2. Now we will do 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. So let's take a look. There's my next stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Now we will do 1 double crochet right here in this next stitch to end the repeat for row number 3. So let's do that. 1 double crochet. Voila. That ends the repeat for row number 3. So let's recap. Row 3's repeat began over here with 2 double crochets. 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 7 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, and we end with 1 double crochet. So that means you will start back over with your 2 double crochets and keep working the same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. So we'll be back for row number 4 in just a moment. We're here at the end of row number 3, and I'm going to show you how your row ends are going to work out every single row. So I have completed a second repeat of the design. So that's what my work looks like after completing a second one of the repeats. I've completed my repeat and I have 2 stitches left at the end of my row. So as you can see, you are going to have the same thing. You're going to have these 2 stitches left. So we restart our repeat for 1 stitch. Next one, so we know that's a double crochet for row number 3. So I'm going to restart my repeat for 1 stitch and work that right here. And then I also know that at the end of every single row, all we have to do is work a single crochet right here in the very last stitch. So all of your row ends are going to be exactly the same. You're going to restart your repeat for the second to last stitch and then do your traditional single crochet always in the very last stitch of the row. So that's all you need to do to finish out every single row. And you're going to notice that your row end and row beginning is going to match. Look exactly the same. So now we're going to move on to row 4. You can grab your color A and let's join on for row 4 next. Here's what our work looks like after completing row 3. We're moving on now to row number 4. Join on color A and we are going to begin our repeat immediately. And that repeat begins by doing 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. So in this case, we're working right here into this double crochet, right there, picking up the back loop only. Remember, all single crochets, back loop only. So there's 1, and here's number 2. Now we're going to work 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. Right here's our first double crochet. 1, and here's number 2. Now we will work a total of 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. Let's focus. So we're going to work 1, 2, and number 3. 2 double crochets. Here's that one. There's 1 and number 2. Now we will do 1 single crochet here into this next stitch. 1 double crochet into this next stitch. 1 single crochet right here into the next stitch. So let's check our stitches. Make sure we're picking up the right one. So back here, that double crochet covers that stitch. Here's my next stitch. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets. 1. And number 2. And we will do 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. Here's number 1, 2, and number 3. Now we will do 2 double crochets right here over these next 2 stitches. There's number 1 and number 2. And we end the repeat by doing 1 single crochet right here in this next stitch. So let's recap row 4. Row 4's repeat began over here when we did 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, and then we end with 1 single crochet. So you'll start back over with the beginning of the repeat, keep working on down the rest of your row. And here's what your work will look like after completing row number 4. We're now moving on to row 5, so please join on with color B. Our repeat for row number 5 begins immediately by doing 1 double crochet into this next stitch. Three single crochets over the next 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, and number 3. One double crochet into this next stitch. Four single crochets over the next 4 stitches. Here's 1, 2, 3, and number 4. One double crochet. One single crochet. One double crochet. Four single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and number 4. One double crochet. And we will end the repeat for row 5 by doing 3 single crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. And that ends our repeat. So let's recap. Row 5's repeat began over here when we did 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, and we end with 3 single crochets. So you'll start back over with your double crochet and keep working that exact same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. And then we'll be back when you are ready to move on to row number 6. And remember, at the end of your row, you will find that you have 2 stitches left. You will restart your repeat for 1 stitch, and then you will single crochet, traditional one, in the very last stitch of the row. And that's it. So we'll be back in just a moment for row number 6. Here's what our work is looking like after completing row 5. We're now moving on to row number 6, joining on color A for this row. Our repeat for row 6 begins now, and that repeat begins with 1 single crochet worked into this very next stitch. Working right here, 1 single crochet. Now we will work 2 double crochets. There's 1, and here is number 2. Two single crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Now we will do 3 double crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and number 3. Now we will work 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. There's 1 and number 2. 1 double crochet. We're going to do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. There's 1 and number 2. 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and number 3. Two single crochets over the next 2 stitches. So here's number 1 and number 2. And we will end by doing 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. There's number 1 and number 2. So let's recap what we just did. So row number 6 repeat begins over here with 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets, and we end with 2 double crochets. So you're going to start back over with that single crochet and keep working on down the rest of your row, and then we'll meet back up when you're ready for row number 7. This is what our work is going to look like. We are now moving on to row number 7. So please join on color B and let's get started. Row 7's repeat begins by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. So take a look and let's do 1 single crochet. Here's number 2. And number 3. Now we will do 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 double crochets, there's number 1 and number 2. One single crochet, 2 double crochets, there's 1, and here is number 2. 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and number 4. 1 double crochet, and we end with 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. That will end our repeat. So there's 1, and here's number 2. So let's recap what we just did for row number 7. Row 7's repeat began over here when we did a total of 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 single crochets. So you will just start back over with the 3 single crochets and keep working that same set of stitches Over here, essentially, you're going to have a total of 5 single crochets across this section. So you will start to notice that you're creating 2 different patterns, one here and then one in the center, which is our secondary pattern. Pause, work down the same set of stitches on down your row, and then we'll be back for row number 8 in just a moment. So here's what your work will look like after completing row 7. We are moving on now to row 8, where you will join on color A. Our repeat for row 8 begins immediately by doing 4 single crochets over these next 4 stitches. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. We will now do 3 double crochets over the next 3 stitches. Here's number 1. Number 2. And number 3. Three single crochets. There's 1, 2, and number 3. 1 double crochet. 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and number 3. Three double crochets. Number 1, 2, and number 3. Now we will end the repeat for row 8 by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. Here's number 1. And 2. And number 3. And that ends our repeat, so let's recap. Row 8's repeat began over here when we did a total of 4 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 3 double crochets, and we end with 3 single crochets. So you will start back over with your 4 single crochets and keep working the same set of stitches over and over on down the rest of your row. Then we'll be back for row 9 in just a moment. Row 9 begins now, so please join on color B. Row 9's repeat begins by doing 1 double crochet here into this next stitch. Now we will do 6 single crochets over the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We will now do 1 double crochet here into this next stitch. One single crochet, one double crochet, one single crochet, one double crochet, one single crochet, one double crochet, and we will do a total of 6 single crochets over these next 6 stitches to end our repeat. So here's number 1. Oops. Number 2. 3. 4. 5. And number 6. So let's recap what we've done for row number 9. So row 9's repeat began over here when we did 1 double crochet, 6 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, and then we end with 6 single crochets. So you'll be starting back over with this double crochet, and essentially all you are doing is creating these a set of 4 double crochets, each separated with a single crochet in this section, and then you have your 6 single crochets leading up to it and after it. So when you start back over and you do your double crochet that starts the pattern, or the repeat I should say, from here you're just creating your 6 single crochets over to this next section where we'll do the double crochet, single crochet combination 4 times over. So hopefully that'll help. Row 10 begins now, so please join on color A. Our repeat for row 10 begins by doing 1 single crochet here into this very next stitch. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1. Number 2. And number 3. 4 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3, number 4. So there's our 4 single crochets. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet, one single crochet, one double crochet, one single crochet, one double crochet, four single crochets, one, two, oops, here's number 2, 3, and last but not least, number 4. Now we're going to end the repeat for row 10 by doing 3 double crochets over these next 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, oops, and number 3. That ends our repeat for row 10. So let's recap what we just did. Row 10's repeat began over here with 1 single crochet, 3 double crochets, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, and we end with 3 double crochets. So you will start back over and work your single crochet on through the rest of these stitches, and then we'll meet back up when you're ready for row number 11. Row 11 begins now by joining on color B. Our repeat for row number 11 begins by doing 1 double crochet here in this next stitch. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets. There's 1. Here's number 2. And number 3. 2 double crochets. There's number 1. And number 2. 3 single crochets. Oops. There's 1. 2. And number 3. 1 double crochet. 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and number 3. 2 double crochets, 1 and number 2. Now we will end our repeat for row 11 by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, and number 3. That ends the repeat, so let's recap. Row 11's repeat began over here with 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, and we end with 3 single crochets. So you will start back over with that double crochet and keep working that set of stitches. Meet back up with me when you're ready for row number 12. So now we're moving on to row number 12, so please join on color A. Row 12 has a pretty simple repeat, and that repeat begins immediately by doing 1 single crochet here into this next stitch. 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets. There's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and number 8. 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets next. Here's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now we will end our repeat by doing 1 double crochet right here into this next stitch. That ends our repeat for row number 12. So let's recap what we've just done. Row 12's repeat began over here with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets, and then 1 double crochet to end our repeat. So you'll start back over with your single crochet and keep working the same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. Then we'll meet back up for row 13. Row number 13 is going to start now, so please join on color B. Row 13's repeat begins with 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 15 single crochets. So we're working straight across this section, doing 15 single crochets total. So here's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and number 15. And now we will end our repeat by doing 1 double crochet and 1 single crochet. So we'll do 1 double crochet, and 1 single crochet ends that repeat. So let's recap what we've done. Row 13's repeat began over here with 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 15 single crochets, and then 1 double crochet and 1 single crochet will end our repeat. So you're going to start back over with this double crochet and keep working this set of stitches on down the rest of your row. We'll be back for row number 14 in just a moment. Row 14 begins now, so please join on color A. Row 14's repeat is going to begin by doing 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and number 8. 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and number 8. And we will end our repeat by doing 1 double crochet here into this next stitch. And that ends our repeat for row number 14. So let's recap what we've done. Row 14's repeat began over here with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 8 single crochets, and we end with 1 double crochet. So you will start back over with your single crochet and work that same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. And then we'll meet back up for row number 15 in just a moment. Row 15 begins now, so please join on color B. Our repeat for row 15 starts with 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and number 3. Now we will do 2 double crochets, there's number 1, and here is number 2. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and number 3. 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, there's 1, 2, and number 3. 2 double crochets, here's number 1, and here is number 2. And we will end by doing 3 single crochets. Here's 1, 2, and number 3. So that ends our repeat for row 15. So let's recap what we've done. Row 15's repeat began over here with 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, and we end with 3 single crochets. So you will start back over with your double crochet and keep working the same set of stitches on down your row. Then we'll meet up for row 16 in just a moment. Row 16 begins now. Please join on color A. Row 16's repeat begins by doing 1 single crochet here in this next stitch. Now we're going to place 3 double crochets over the next 3 stitches. Here's number 1, number 2, and number 3. Now we're going to do a total of 4 single crochets over the next 4 stitches. So 4 single crochets. So here's 1, 2, 3, and number 4. 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and number 4. And now we'll do 3 double crochets to end this repeat. 1, 2, and number 3. So let's recap what we just did. So row 16's repeat began over here with 1 single crochet, 3 double crochets, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, And then we end with 3 double crochets. So you'll start back over with that single crochet and keep working on down your row. Then we'll be back for row 17 in just a moment. We're now joining on for row 17. So please join on color B. Row 17's repeat begins by doing 1 double crochet, six single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet. There's 1. 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, and we end by doing 6 single crochets over these next 6 stitches. I apologize for the train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6. So that ends our repeat for row 17. So now we're going to recap. Row 17's repeat began over here with 1 double crochet, 6 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, and then we end with 6 single crochets. So finish that up on down the rest of your row, and then we'll meet back up when you're ready for row 18. Here's what our work will be looking like after completing row 17. We're now moving on to row 18, so please join on color A. Row 18's repeat begins by doing 4 single crochets over these next 4 stitches. So we're going to begin right here. So here's number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. We're now going to do 3 double crochets over these next 3 stitches. Here's number 1, number 2, and number 3. 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, number 2, and number 3. 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets. Here's number 1, number 2, and number 3. 3 double crochets. Here's number 1, number 2, and number 3. Focusing right, there we go. All right, now we're going to end our repeat by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and number 3. And that ends our repeat for row number 18. So let's recap what we've done. Row 18's repeat began over here when we did a total of 4 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 3 double crochets, and we end with 3 single crochets. So you will start back over with your 4 single crochets and keep working the same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. Then we'll meet back up for row number 19 in just a moment. Row 19 is beginning now, so please join on color B. Row number 19's repeat begins by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. So here is number 1, number 2, and number 3. Now we will do 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 double crochets. 1, and number 2. 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 1, and number 2. 4 single crochets, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 double crochet, and then we end our repeat by doing 2 single crochets, 1 and number 2. So that ends our repeat for row 19. So let's recap it. Row 19's repeat began over here when we did 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, and we end with 2 single crochets. So you will start back over with your 3 single crochets and keep working this exact set of stitches on down your row. Then we'll be back for row 20 in just a moment. Here's what our work is looking like after completing row number 19. We're moving on to row 20, so please join on color A. Row 20's repeat begins by doing 1 single crochet. There's number 1. 2 double crochets. 1 and number 2. 2 single crochets. There's 1 and number 2. 3 double crochets. There's number 1, number 2, and number 3. 2 single crochets. Here's 1 and number 2. 1 double crochet. 2 single crochets. 1 and number 2. 3 double crochets. 1, number 2, and number 3. 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. Here's number 1 and number 2. And we will end by doing 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and number 2. So let's recap what we have just done. Row 20's repeat began over here with 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets, and 2 double crochets ends our repeat. So you're going to start back over with your single crochet and work the same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. We'll be back for row 21 in just a moment. Row 21 begins now by joining on color B. Row 21's repeat begins with doing 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, there's 1, 2, and number 3. 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, here's 1, 2, 3, and number 4. 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we will do 1 double crochet, and we will end by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. Here's 1, 2, and number 3. And that ends our repeat for row number 21. So let's recap what we've done. Row 21's repeat began over here with 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, and we end with 3 single crochets. So you will start back over with your double crochet and keep working the set of stitches on down your row. We'll meet up in just a moment for row 22, which is our final row. All right, so this is what our work looks like after completing row 21. We are moving on now to our final row, which is row 22. You're going to join on color A. Row 22's repeat begins by doing 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. So here is number 1. And number 2. 2 double crochets. There's number 1, number 2. Three single crochets. 1, 2, and number 3. 2 double crochets. There's 1. And here is number 2. 1 single crochet. 1 double crochet. 1 single crochet. 2 double crochets. Here's number 1. And number 2. Three single crochets. There's 1. 2. And number 3. 2 double crochets. There's 1. And number 2. And we end by doing 1 single crochet here into this next stitch. So that ends our repeat for row 22. So let's recap. Row 22's repeat began over here with 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, and we end with 1 single crochet. So you're going to start back over and do your 2 single crochets and keep working that exact same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. And since this is the final row for this pattern, you will then be able to rewind in the same video back to row number 3 and work rows 3 through 22 over and over as many times as you would like. And when you do that, you will see that there's a secondary pattern that will emerge in between these designs that we're doing as our main pattern. So after you've completed row 22 and you are going to move on, let's say, to a completely different pattern, you're going to do something else next. I do recommend that you go back to row 3 and work at least row 3 as your final row, which is what I have here, to even out the design and make sure that your first row that you did in your last row are going to make it match up and it will look nice and even for you. So if you are just going to continue to work up using the same pattern, all you will need to do is rewind back to row 3 and work rows 3 through 22 over and over as many times as you would like in order to make a bigger project. And hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have, please make sure that you give me a thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed, and until next time, bye for now.